Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I want to talk to you about the latest episode of Batwoman. It was called Freeze. And it starts off where a kid finds a canister of Mr. Freeze's freeze stuff and accidentally freezes a bus when he tries to open it. Apparently, Mr. Freeze is deceased in this continuity, which kind of sucks. We won't get to see him. That's kind of a bummer. We then see Ryan and her mom talk, and Ryan is way too forgiving of what her mom did to her. You know, abandoned her, paid off a doctor to pretend that she had died so that no one would, so that Ryan wouldn't be able to track her down. Like, that's some cold shit. And Ryan is talking to her and she's basically like not calling her on it. And she's just being like very cordial to this woman. And I don't think I would have been. And I'm surprised that Ryan was being that, because she's usually a sort of hard-hitting, no bullshit person, but she must have had her reasons. But then her mom says she wants nothing to do with Ryan. And at that point, Ryan is like, oh, really? And then she takes her to task, which of course gets her tossed out, but not before she meets her half-brother. I'm not sure why she didn't punch her mother in the throat, but that's how the scene goes. We find that Alice is back with the team, which is great. She was sent to Arkham at the end of last episode, but now she's back with the team. I don't know why, but I don't care. I like it. The thing is, she's playing sick, and she's pretending that she can't help the team because she's not feeling well. It was quite funny, actually. This actress is great in the part, and this character is great. I never thought I would say that. I hated this character in the first season. I kind of liked it in the second season, but I am loving this character now, and I'm so glad she's part of the show. Anyway, Batwoman ends up breaking into the GCP evidence locker to get the canister that was used to freeze the bus, but it's not where it's supposed to be. It seems that two old ladies have it, and that one of them is an unfrozen yet quite alive Nora, who is aging rapidly now. And the other one is a GCPD employee and Nora's sister. But soon, two or three other people break in and menace the old ladies. Ryan's brother shows up at Wayne Enterprises and seems to hit on Ryan, but also knows he's her sibling, which was weird. He then asks her to team up with him to show up their mom. We flash back to the team of people that broke in on Nora and her sister, and it seems they're looking for info and help with freezing someone. So they threaten to, hurt Nora or kill Nora to coerce her and her sister to help them. Alice and Mary have a talk about Alice imagining postcards, which she did in the last episode, and if she needs help. But Alice declines help and then taunts Mary about liking Luke and suggests that she's low on the pecking order within Team Batwoman, which Mary kind of doesn't really take to heart, but I don't know, might have taken to heart. It's hard to tell at that point. Batwoman drops in on the criminals and helps Nora escape, but gets taken out and put in a cryo chamber that Nora and her sister led the criminals to. And Nora's sister is forced to allow the criminals to use it on Batwoman. Luke, meanwhile, who's in communication with Batwoman, wants to help, but she asks him instead to go save Nora's sister. Mary, meanwhile, is examining Nora, who made it out during the fight, and Alice holds a knife to her, demanding that Mary remove the nanobots, but Nora says she's fine with dying, so Alice lets her go and leaves, at which point Nora expresses sympathy for Alice, who she says only wants to be free after so long being a prisoner, which is something she can relate to, having been frozen for decades. Luke rescues Batwoman, and using the Batmobile, they chase the criminals who have the sister, and when the criminals blow a bridge, like completely blow a hole in the middle of the bridge, and start to get away, Luke flies up with his jetpack and uses Mr. Freeze's freezy thing to freeze over the gap with the cryo formula, at which point Batwoman guns the Batmobile after engaging the spiked snow tires and zooms across the ice bridge and catches the criminal's vehicle with a bat hook launched from the Batmobile, causing the criminals to release the sister and take off. Very cool sequence. Very much enjoyed that. Ryan locks up the cryo canister in a safe place in the Batcave, and Mary warns her that Luke isn't fit for duty, which Luke denies, before expressing unhappiness with Mary for bringing it up. She's concerned that he has PTSD and he shouldn't be out in the field, but Luke denies it, so Batwoman doesn't pay any attention to it. Ryan and Sophie have a talk about how Ryan wants a mom and how it's too dangerous for her to work with her brother. Alice is back in Arkham yet again, I guess because she menaced Nora, and seems to be hallucinating the nanobots being visible under her skin. Mary gives Nora some medicine and overhears Nora say she wants to enjoy what life she has left and not be refrozen before she's grabbed by some apparently intelligent Ivy. So this was an outside scene. Nora and her sister are on a bench, and Mary brings her some medicine and kind of walks away, but still kind of focuses on them. And while she's doing that, she's grabbed by what I'm guessing is Poison Ivy. So it looks like next week we're going to see Poison Ivy. I had thought maybe this week was going to be the week, but it wasn't. So that was the episode. I thought it was pretty good. I like the fact that we learned about Mr. Freeze being deceased. I don't like that he is deceased, but we know his status now. I thought it was really cool to see Nora. I believe this is the first live action ever use of the Nora character. And not only that, but she wasn't frozen. She was speaking and talking, and we get some history on her and, some perspective of, not only what's happening currently on Team Batwoman, but her life in general, which we know the history of if we've been fans of Batman, but we never had her perspective on before. So that was really cool. Again, I think Alice was great in this episode. I think it was great that Nora recognized, look, she's in pain and she's suffering and she's acting out in sort of unacceptable ways, but it's because she's in pain. And I think that's just great because I think that's true. And I think Team Batwoman needs to realize that. Ryan, Luke, Mary, Sophie, everybody needs to realize that this is what's going on with Alice. And I think they are going to eventually. And I think we're going to see more development of Alice. I think we're going to see her come back to herself more and more. Though I don't think they'll ever give up the Alice persona because it's just too cool. But I'm again looking forward to the future episodes of this season and that plot line specifically, as well as the villain of the week thing is just so cool. It just makes the show so much more palatable, because when the episode starts, okay, we're going to see Freeze this week. We're going to see Killer Croc this week. We're going to see Poison Ivy this week. We're going to see Mad Hatter this week. So I just think they've gone in a great direction this season. I've said that a million times before. I'm looking forward to seeing Poison Ivy. This is what they should have been doing from the beginning. Another thing I want to note is that it seems like not only do we have a possible relationship brewing between Mary and Luke, which was evidenced last week, but now maybe a possible relationship between Ryan and Sophie, which I'm not sure how I feel about, but I don't have any objection to either of them having a significant other. I think it adds a layer to their characterization. I'm just not sure it should be each other for various reasons, but we'll see how that goes. But that's really all I wanted to say about this episode. I thought it was really good, just as the season premiere was. So far, again, the season's going in a direction that I'm loving. So I look forward to next week's episode, and I will be back, of course, with a review once it airs. Until then, my friends, I wish you all peace and long life.